I'm back talking about internet stuff, rabbit holes that I have interests in, and today we're going further in terms of history. I've done creepypastas and covered my old YouTube horror phase, which I'd say is one of four major internet horror phases I've had. So what's the other ones? Well, they'll probably get their own videos, but right now I'm talking about phase number 2, which happened around grade 6 to early grade 7. I like keeping track of time based on grades rather than age. It's so much easier to me. This phase I underwent is none other than my lost media phase. Now, this stuff ain't exactly scary, but it usually is grouped in with internet horror stuff. I got introduced to lost media through the GOAT himself. Blame it on Jorge. This video right here is top 3 YouTube vids of all time in my opinion. And let me tell you, I got super into this stuff. I knew a lot about it and really wanted to find some of that shit myself, but no way in hell am I gonna find some really fucking obscure stuff like the Q source. I'm looking forward to making this video because I want to say something before I get into some of the ones that really have piqued my interest. Now, one thing you should know is that I have been completely inactive in this community for a while, and if you're wondering why, it's simple really. The current lost media community is boring and sucks in general, in my opinion. Maybe I just don't have the passion for it anymore, and it honestly could very well be that, but I do have at least one point to make. The current community is way too obsessed with gore. This meme has been floating around for some time, and it used to be true, but low-key, I would rather go back to the days where people would talk about stuff like Clockman like it was a huge urban legend. Every lost media video on YouTube is some shit like the most disturbing lost media, do not research in brackets, with a red tinted thumbnail implying some really fucked up gore video or something. I honestly blame that lol Superman rumor for starting this trend of gore obsession within the community. And yes, rumor, this shit is so obviously fake, there is little to no evidence backing this shit up. And that's basically what I think of the modern scene right now. Today, I'll be explaining pieces of lost media I find interesting. This video might be a little shorter. That was in the script, but like looking at it, it might not be a little shorter. I don't know. The videos have been getting long for like increasingly longer. First up will be my favorite piece of lost media just because of how weird it is. It completely caught my eye when I first read the title. Yeah, Beavis won. So, okay, I'm sorry. Who came up with this fucking title? So this is a lost video game where there's not much information about this one, but we do have a good guess. So this weird game appeared in 2 ordering catalogs for video games in the 80s, and no one seemed to have bought the game. Plus, it wasn't even in the correct alphabetical order on the chart. And so people were like, what the fuck is a Beavis? There's a lot of theories for this one, so I'll go over 2 of them. The one I used to sort of believe and still kind of like to believe just because of how outlandish this one is that this is basically like 3 different fucking pieces of lost media. Let me explain real quick. There's another lost video game called Gathers, and there's one screenshot of this thing. Here it is. Now, this guy who is also interested in lost media named Chris Bieniek made a blog post saying, hey, those creatures look like the ones from a different canceled game called Dweebers. Judging off of it, there hasn't been developments in the Dweebers' case. These 2 games, Dweebers and Gathers, are very commonly associated with each other, and yeah. So where the hell does fucking yeah Beavis come in? Well, okay, huge stretch, but here it is. Dweebers kind of sounds like Beavis. Yeah, I've only seen one other person support this theory. But for a certain time, Dweebers and Beavis were associated with each other, and they thought it was a mistranslation. Until the other mistranslation theory came through, which, although not proven, a lot of people have accepted this as the case. So there's this game called, and it's for the NES, called, wait a minute. Rai Rai Kyonchi's Baby Kyonchi no Amida Daibuken. Holy fuck, I did that first try. Now, obviously, this title is not English, and people have found that this title could easily be mistranslated into some shit like, yeah, Beavis. Some people have said this might also be a mistranslation of Super Pitfall 2, somehow. But yeah, the case might never be solved at this point, which is a shame. But anyways, let's move on to another much less mysterious piece of lost media, because this one's only partially lost. I'm talking about the Sesame Street experiment. Now, one thing I have to say about most lost media is this shit is sometimes devastating. And by that, I mean there are a lot of lost media cases where it just sounds like the coolest thing ever. For example, the lost Superman 1930s comic debuts where he was a villain? I want to see that, but no, it's gone. Probably forever. But this next one is the best example I can give for a piece of lost media that punches me in the gut regarding its lost status. So, this is a documentary called The Sesame Street Experiment about Sesame Street. It goes behind the scenes, like, mostly, but the most interesting part of this documentary is that it reveals the ways on how they secretly teach children through all the funny antics on screen without even adults realizing it. I heard about this through a Blame It on Jorge video, and I was like, what? Hold up, someone fucking find this and give me the premiere tickets. If that doesn't sound really cool to you, you are fucking boring, let me tell you that. Now, I did say partially lost, and that's because you can watch certain parts of the documentary on YouTube. We found cracks. And the fucking Wicked Witch episode. So where is this? Come on, guys! So the next one is also partially lost. And by that, I mean it's like 1% lost. I'm just including this one because it's a movie I like. I'm talking about the lost scenes, or scene, I guess, from Metropolis. Now, I believe this movie should be watched by every film enthusiast. Most people in general. It's a 1920s, 2.5 hours experimental silent film. It's not the most stimulating thing ever. But if you can get past that, please watch this. It's pretty good. Now, the thing is, I guess even in the dinosaur ages, people were kind of brain rotted because no one was wanting to sit through this 2.5 hour film. And so, the film board cut the film down to just an hour and a half, which is stupid because they left out so much shit out that it turned worse than having to sit down for a while. Entire characters were cut out. Eventually, in like 2009, they did a massive restoration project of the film because they found most of the missing scenes, with only 2 scenes missing. These being a monk preaching in a chapel and a fight between the antagonist and this inventor guy. Pretty cool to me personally. Next one is one that has sparked this new trend amongst the lost media community of trying to find unedited images or like where certain images came from. Like you'll see like some old internet images, like it was being tossed around and it was like, where did this actually come from? So, I'm talking about the original Jeff the Killer image, unedited. This one is honestly a doozy. I could go on about this forever, but I'll give you the most watered down explanation for not making this video an hour long. You've definitely seen this image. It's Jeff the Killer. Who doesn't know this guy? But do you know where this image comes from? Yeah, no one does. The thing is, the image wasn't even made for the creepypasta. People have found this image on Japanese forum sites from like 2005. Years before the creepypasta was submitted to the wiki. Now, this case kind of pisses me off at the moment because currently, we're near the end zone. All we know right now is It was an edited image of a middle-aged Asian woman with loose teeth that was ugly and was a meme in Japan for a while. The thing is, the people searching for this have been tossed a fuck ton of red herrings ever since we got this information. I feel genuinely sorry for them because there's so many fake ones being shared around. It's unbelievable. There's this one of a kid, this one of a little girl, this AI one, but yeah, just a ton of fake leads. Something extra. I don't know if this is some Mandela effect I'm experiencing right now, but I swear that this one YouTuber named Plague and Moth was exposed for faking finding the Jeff the Killer image. I can find no information about it though. Now, I'll close it off by doing rapid fire through some NSFL ones. I know I said I didn't like most of the gore ones, but I'm talking about NSFL ones before the gore obsession. And the reason I'm rapid firing this is because NSFL Lost Media can go places, that's for sure. So, here we go. The Draws versus D'Lo Brown incident where the one guy broke the other's neck seemed kind of fucked up to me. And I don't know, always piqued my interest. The Christine Shabuk one makes me sad because she was clearly going through a lot. If you don't know, this is a news anchor who killed herself on live TV as a result of a years-long struggle with depression. And she was actually the first person to do this ever, before Bud Dwyer, even. The Werribee DVD incident has stuck with me pretty badly. Basically, these little fucks made a movie, quote-unquote, inspired by Jackass, where they just did illegal shit for laughs, but specifically in one scene they filmed themselves sexually assaulting a disabled girl, which the details of that specific scene make me so unbelievably mad. I feel so sorry for that poor girl. I hope those kids get shot and shit on. One more to close off the video, and listen, I hope you all don't get the wrong idea when I say this one piqued my morbid curiosity when I was like 11. I can assure you I definitely haven't gone looking for it. This is basically a swear word in the Lost Media community. Everywhere you go, there's people saying to never mention this once. So I'm talking about a quote-unquote album that's quote-unquote lost, and it's called Pseudoscorpion. I say quote-unquote album because the whole album is, I'm gonna avoid terminology here. I've mostly tried not to censor myself in my YouTube videos, but cheese pizza audio, like nothing else but that. I also say quote-unquote lost because, well, it's not lost at all. Literally last year there was an epidemic on YouTube of people just re-uploading the full thing, and yeah. I do find this one pretty fucked up though, don't get me wrong. That's all I got for you today, really. Good talk.